Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. In this video, I'm going to discuss Excel automation using Python. So obviously, if you are working in the data field or you might working in another department, but Excel is the most useful software. You might be you are working in a payroll, you might be working in HR, you might be working in finance. So Excel is the software that is mostly used across the industries. And if you are working with Excel and you are doing a lots of things manually, so here I'm going to show you how you can automate your report generations using Python. So requirement is that only you need to know the Python. Everything after the Python I am going to show you here. So what you need to do is first you need to install the library of Excel so that supports Python code. So okay, so in Python, the library name is Openpyxl, and you need to run this command. Okay, so you need to say pip install Openpyxl from your command prompt, and then if you hit the enter button, it will say like this for me because this is already installed on my system. But in your case, it might not show this message. It will say the OpenPyXL or library or module got installed kind of message you will get. Okay. So once the installation is done, so what you need to do is you need to import that module. Okay. So either you can import the module. Obviously, we are going to use the module, but it's not like that. Okay, you can only import the module. You can import the classes and functions of that module also. So if I over the mouse here, you can see that this is a module. Okay, so if you want to import the classes from this, so this module, obviously this is a module, meaning this is a Python file, and this file has classes for of meaning to perform the different things. That classes has methods, right? So we are going to use those. Okay, so what I will do, instead of writing this, if you want to import something from module, you can say from OpenPyXL. This is what the module. So from OpenPyXL, what you want to import, so I would like to import the workbook class. Okay, this is the class. If I over the mouse here, you can see that definition is class, and you can use this class to create the new workbook. So I will show you how to create the new workbook and all. There is one more class that is named as a load workbook. So this class is used to work, or this function. Okay, so here it is a function. Load workbook is a function. So this function helps us to read the existing Excel files, the Excel files which are already there. If you want to write Excel files, obviously you can use this workbook. Okay, meaning if whenever you want to create the new. Okay, so this is how these two classes are there. If you want to read exit data from existing Excel, you can use this. Okay, so this is not required once you wrote this second statement, because you have directly imported the classes and functions. Okay, now let's say how we can create our own Excel file, new Excel file. So obviously here you need to instantiate workbook is a class. So I will say WB is equal to, and workbook is a class. I am going to create the object. Here you can see that write only bulls. By default it's false, but if you want to make this as a write only, this workbook as a write only, so what you can do, you can here pass write only as a true. But I don't want to do that. Even ISO dot bool false. Okay, so this is what you don't need to look. If necessary, we will change. Okay, so far I don't need to change. So WB is a workbook. So this will create one workbook, but you need to have at least one active worksheet. So I will use WS is a variable name for worksheet, and worksheet is a part of workbook. Right. So hierarchy you need to follow. First workbook is the class, meaning the Excel file will comes in a picture. Inside of Excel file, there will be a sheets, and inside the sheets obviously we have sales, so range sales. Okay, so that we will see now. Without adding any content, I'm going to save this. So obviously you need to save the workbook, not the worksheets. Okay, so if I say wb dot save method I'm going to call, and here you can pass the path, complete path. Let's say if I come here and my current working folder is this. Okay, so if I want to save the file in this folder only, I don't need to write anything. I can simply pass the file name as a demo. And what is the date today? So 12/20/2023 dot. Okay, obviously you need to use the extension. So OpenPyXL library support two types of extensions. First one is XLSX, second one is XLSM. Okay, so these two types of extensions you can use with OpenPyXL library. Now I would like to run this code. So if I run this, you can see that code is executed successfully. Okay, fine. Now let's go, and here you can see that the workbook got created just now, right? So my system time is same. Here you can see that. So this workbook, the moment I executed the code, this workbook got created. If I open this, so you can see this is what the Excel file, and this is what the sheet name, right? So if you want to add data here, or you may want to change the name of this sheet, so you can change the name. So first we will see how we can change the name. So if I say ws dot worksheet dot title is equal to, and here I can say demo. Okay, this is what the title. Now I have closed the file. If I rerun this, what will happen? If I run this, okay, again that file will be overridden by the Python. Every time whenever you run the code, that file will be overridden by the Python. So new file will be created and existing file will be replaced. And now you can see that here the sheet name is changed, right? So we are able to change the sheet name, right? Okay, fine. So this is how you can create. Now inside a worksheet, what we will have? So we will have sales, right? So you need to access that. Okay, so how you can access? So I will say ws of, and here you can use the Excel references also, a1 a2 a3 kind of things you can refer. Okay, e1 is equal to, so I'm going to insert the value into single cell. So I will say I will enter a web charm. Okay, fine, this is even fine. So I'm going to insert the value. Okay, let's see whether this works or not works. So if I come here again, this execution will override every time whenever you run this. Python will override the file because we are okay. So here you can see that this has entered the value into that specific cell, whatever the cell I specified. Okay, fine. So now we have, so far only one worksheet we have created. Let's say I would like to create one more worksheet. Okay, so how to create? So to create one more worksheet, so I will say ws1 is equal to wb, okay, dot create a sheet. This is what the method you need to use. Okay, and inside this method, okay, this the moment I say method meaning is the its function. Inside this method you need to pass the title. If you want to pass the title, you can pass the title here, and I will say demo 2. Okay, this is what my title. Okay, even if you want to pass the index, okay, you can pass the index also in the form of integer. So index meaning what? So it represents the sequence, meaning when or this sheet should be introduced, meaning before the existing sheet, after the existing sheet, or in between the existing sheets. So I will discuss that part also, how index are going to work. So but remember that Python indexes start with a 0. So I said index is equal to 0. Now if I run this, okay, so this got created. If I open this, so now you can see that two different sheets. First one is demo 2, and second one is demo. Why this is introduced before? Because I used the index here 0. I used index here as a 0. Okay, if I add one more or many like this, so demo 3, demo 4 is there. And let's say what I want is, so by default, this demo 2 has index 0. Okay, and this default one, we did not define the any index. Okay, but we can say that, okay, so I would like to insert this at index 2. So I will keep the sequence remains same. So first demo 2, demo 3. Okay, so demo 3 will comes in picture after the demo and demo, okay, 3. So 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So this is how indexes works. So you can use indexes also to define where the sheets, new sheets to be added, or sequence you can define. Okay, now if I run, okay, here I don't want to override the WS1, that's fine. If I run this, now you can see that it will create a sheet or Excel workbook with so many numbers of sheets. Okay, so demo 2, demo 3, demo 4, the way I told the sequence in the same sequence. So index are used to control the uh, number of sheet, meaning the order of sheet, yes, in Excel file. Okay, so now what we can do after this, so obviously you have inserted the value in single cell. Okay, so you are very much familiar. Instead of this, if I use ws1, ws2, ws3, obviously it will go and insert the value into that specific cell. Okay, so that is not difficult, right? So here if you say ws2, ws3, so it will automatically go and insert the value into that specific sheet. Okay, now my requirement is that, my requirement is a little bit different. Okay, I don't want to create so many sheets, so I will override this. I will keep this as my first sheet, and I would like to insert the value in a range. Okay, what is the range and how we can define the range? Okay, so let's say I would like to insert the value for the range for the A1 as to D1. Okay, in for top 4 cells of Excel sheet. So how I can? So I will say WS or WS1. Okay, here I will say A1 as to D1 is equal to, I can insert the value 1. A1 as to D1, I can insert the value 1. Okay, if I run this now, okay, tuple object has no attribute all value. Okay, so here what we did is, okay, we have selected a range and directly we cannot assign the single value. So here once we define this, so we need to define the 4 value. However, the number of values you have selected, let's try with this. If this doesn't work, then we need to use the another approach. Okay, so it says, okay, we cannot use this way. Okay, okay, fine. So we can insert the value in the single cell, that is fine, but we will use the different approach to do that. Okay, right. So WS1, here you will be able to insert the webcam. Okay, let me run this to check whether, okay, so there is no other error. Okay, so in the both the sheets we will have the same value. My requirement is that I would like to insert the value into all these 4 sheets. Sorry, 4 cells. Okay, so we can do that also. But yes, if you want to insert the same value into the multiple cells, so what you need to do? You need to use the different logic. So since this is a table, okay, this is the form of table. Okay, so each row is represented by, let's say, I. Each column is represented by, let's say, J. Okay, see, these are the variables I'm going to use in the loop. Okay, fine. So now if you want to go through all the rows, so obviously 0 to 9, meaning 1 to 9 rows are there, right? So can I say I is sitting in the range of 0 to, or I will say 1 to 9. Yes. So cannot 1. Next I will say 9. Okay. Similarly, j is there. J values are there for the range of 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. Okay. So one first column to 4 column. And this is what I would like to do with the help of loops. Okay. So what will be the value for this first? So first row, first column. Okay. Here first row, sorry. So here I will say second row, first column. Right. Here I will say third row, first column. Here I will say fourth row, first column. Right. So this is what the address this Excel uses. Right. And we have to give the same kind of address using Python. So I will print first. I will show you that. Okay. So I don't want to insert this data into the different sheets. If you want to go for the different sheets, you can do. Otherwise, I will continue with only single sheet. Okay. So now my task is that I would like to insert the values into the multiple cells. Okay. So WS meaning worksheet object has method called cell. Okay. You will not be able to see that, but if I say cell 1 dot value, okay, is equal to if I say 1. Okay, so this will insert the value. So just to show you, this is what we are going to use to insert the value into the multiple cells by using loop. If I run this, okay, no error. If I open this tab or this sheet, you can see that it has inserted a value called 1 into this cell. Okay, so either we can insert the value in earlier way by using the square bracket and the cell reference. Okay, or we can use this cell method also. So this is what the best approach to insert the value into the multiple cell. I was just trying whether we will be able to, but yes, that is not supported. Okay, fine. So what I want is I wanted to write a loop first, because how many rows you would like to insert the value. So I will say for I in a range of, okay. So I'm just going to generate the number of columns, number of row. So I will consider 1 to 10 rows. Okay, 1 to 10 rows. So we know that if I try to print I, what will happen? So obviously it will give me number series of 1 to 10. Okay, so here you can see that 1 to 10 number got printed. Right. If I define the one more loop, that is what the nested loop. So j in a range of for column. So always remember, okay, whenever you are working with the table, outer loop will work for the rows, inner loop will work for the columns. Okay, so columns. And if I say 1 of 6, let's say 5 columns are there. Okay, so why I'm using 11 and 6? If you are familiar with this range function, so Python always ignore the upper bound. Okay, so that's why. And if I come here, okay, so here if I say print I comma j, so now you will be able to see that it will print the way I had written the 1 comma the meaning first column or second column, so kind of things the way I was changing. And similarly, here you will be able to see the numbers. Okay, so if I use this, okay, so see, this is going to print every matching possible case. Okay, so first row, first column, first row, second column, first row, third column, first row, fifth column, first row, sorry, fourth column, fifth column, then second row, it will start. Okay, so this is how it will go. So meaning if I open this, so how these loops are. So these loops are going to write the number in this way. First it will write these numbers, then second it will write these numbers, then it will write the next row. Okay, then it will write the next row. Okay, so this is how it going to works, and you need to remember this pattern to work with these sheets. Okay, now let me close this. Okay, and we have seen the ws dot sales method. Obviously this method I am going to use in the loop. Okay, so I don't want to print this now. I would like to use. Okay, so value I am using here as a 1. Okay, instead of this, even I can pass the value as a in the form of text also. If I say formatting, so I will show you I is my I is my row, J is my column. And here, obviously, I'm going to say I and J. So it will represent, it will insert the value of row number, comma, column number. Okay. So now this is what the value I'm going to insert. Okay. So this will be comma separated value. And if I run this, okay, this got executed successfully. Now let me come here. Okay, now this got saved. And if I open this, you can see that. Okay, first row, as I was showing you that first row, first column, second row, first column, third row, first column, the way I was saying, similarly, it is working, right? So since I entered this in the form of text, so these are aligned to the left side. Okay, that is even fine. That is not a matter. But instead of this, if I insert the range of values, meaning here I can pass the different types of data. I can perform the calculations and all. Okay, so let's say here I'm going to take the product of I into J. Okay, and if I close this, so you will be able to see that it will perform the calculation also and insert the values. So if I run this, there is no issue. And obviously it takes time, that's why I came first here. So 1 into 1 1, 2 into 1 2. Okay, so this is how. So these many number of columns are there. So obviously 5 columns are there and 10 rows are there. You can see the here count is 10. You can see here column count is 5, right? So this is how you can write the Excel using OpenPyXL. Okay, so not the this much only. Okay, let's say you have a nested list. Okay, you have a nested list. So always whenever you get the data from database and all, so you need to use these kind of loops there also, because to extract the one value, and because you will get the data in the form of nested list contains the tuples kind of things, or list contains the list kind of things. So you need to decide. But yes, this is what the representation, whatever I use here, this is you need to master. If you understood this, you can work with the databases, you can work with the Excels also very easily. This is a master loop. Beyond this, everything is very, very simple. But until you understood this, you need to struggle. So that's why I try to explain in the best possible way, so that it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, but still you might need to try this couple of times by your own to understand. Okay, so now next is, so what I did, I simply showed you how to write the Excel file. Okay, so here, these are the ways. Okay, even rows, columns, and values. Okay, so sales method you can use here. This method also has, you can use the value attribute also, or instead of this, if you say, if you put the comma and if you say I into J. Okay, so this method itself has the third parameter, that is called value. Okay, so if you want to pass the values in the key and value pair, like rows, okay, and column, and then value, so still it is going to work. So if I say row is equal to I, if I say column is equal to J, and if I say value is equal to I into J, okay, still this is going to work. Okay, if I show you, if I run this, you can see that this got executed successfully. And okay, to replace, now file is replaced. Okay, and same output you are able to see here, right? So this is what my intention, to show you how you can write the Excel file. Okay, even we have seen how we can insert the new sheet also. Okay, so inserting the data into the single cell, inserting data into the multiple cell. Okay, this is what the only way. And okay, so if you want to pick column, entire range, so this is what the way you can do. But yes, so you can select. So I can make the selection of entire row, entire column also. Okay, so by using what? So if I use, okay, instead of this, if I use ws of c, so this will be the selection of column c. Okay, and I can say column underscore c. I'm just creating a new variable. Okay, so this variable is going to represent the uh, complete values or sales reference of this column c. If I print this, I you can see, okay, how it will print. Okay, I'm just removing, okay, instead of that I will comment out this. Just remember this, you need to use this everywhere whenever you have to work with the tabular data. So if I say print, okay, print, and column C I cannot print because this is the object. Okay, if I print this, you will be able to see that object kind of something, right? Sale demo dot c1, okay, kind of things it shows, and it has given a comma, right? So if I loop through this, if I say for I in column C, okay, and if I say print I, still it is referring to the only one cell. But yes, so this is how you can make the selection. If you want to make the selection of a range and two columns, you can use C as to D. Then if you want to select a single row, you can select WS. Okay, so these are the ways to do, but you don't need to go through the anything if you get hands on this. And this is what the master loop for your Excel automation. So here you can control the any number of loops. Here you can control the any number of columns, okay, meaning rows and columns. So by you changing the numbers, you will be able to control that, right? So this is what the you need to master first. Okay, then whatever we have seen is just about writing the values or writing the new Excel. Okay, sometime what you need to do is you need to insert the formula in the cell. Okay, you need to insert the formula in the cell. Excel formula, obviously you will be able to insert the formula, but how to insert the formula? Okay, if I open this, let's say I, obviously we are familiar with this much data. Let me write the loop one, the data once again, so that I can show you. If I run this, okay, fine. Let's wait to get this finished. Okay, this got finished. Okay, so here we are just using, let's say you may wants to insert the VLOOKUP formula in the cell. Let's say sum of formula, count formula, any kind of formula. If you want to insert into the next cells, you will be able to do that. Even if you want to insert the formula here also in these cells, you will be able to do that. But how? Okay, how? So obviously you need to find out. See, if you want to insert the formula in column F, so your column F is the 6 number column, so that is not going to change, right? So we can insert the formula here. Let's say I would like to say sum of. Okay, so here I will say sum of, and I will pass this range. Okay, and this is what the formula I would like to use. Then I will say count of. Okay, so this is what I would like to do here. And let's say I would like to take the sum. I will use the auto sum here, and this is what I'm going to use. Okay, so let's not take count. Count is not meaningful here, but let's say horizontal sum and vertical sum you would like to do the. Okay, and obviously references you can derive with the help of A1, meaning say row number 1 is in your hand, so that is referred by the I, right? I, but J is fixed, right? Here the column number is J is equal to 6. It's fixed. It is not going to change at all. For this row, obviously I is equal to 11 is fixed because this is the row number, and j is going to change. Okay, so you have to give the two different formulas. Both are the sum formulas, but one will go through the column, one will go through the rows, right? And this is what you have to achieve with the help of loop. And you are able to, if you think a little bit, you will be able to. So let's say I would like to insert this formula. Okay, I'm just copying this formula. Whatever the formula is there, I'm just copying the formula. And what I can do, I can say ws dot sale, okay, and dot value, because we are going to insert the value in the form of text. Okay, so whenever you have to insert the formula, follow me and do not forget this instruction. So use triple quotation to create the formula in the form of text. Okay, so this will insert only text. You need to use the this is equal to before the formula, then underscore xlfn. Okay, so this is the indication to the excel that this is what the excel formula it is trying to insert from the python. Okay, so this is what you need to use. Not for all the formula it is required, but yes, few formulas are there. If you insert from the python, excel will not be able to recognize that that is a formula. So in that case, this is what is required. Okay, so always use triple quotation. That is a good idea. Okay, fine. And next is, again, I'm yet to pass the rows. I will show you how to pass the rows and all. So here I will say a as to a, right? So reference, you can use dynamic, or you can pass the range. So we will see what parameter we need to pass here. So let's say if I wanted to insert the data in this range, I mean, sorry, if I insert the formula in this range for A1 as to E1. So here, what is going to change? Column range is not going to change, right? So what is going to change? Only row numbers are going to change from E1 to E2, E3. Okay, so these kind of things are going to change in the first formula. So I will make that dynamic. Here, I will pass I. I will pass I. And obviously, I'm using the formatting, string formatting. So I will pass F here. So if you write F here, and then you will be able to do that. Okay, so here, what you need to pass. A1 has to 18. Right. Here again, A1 has to 18. So if your formula is fixed, okay, in this case you don't need, because column A is fixed, and obviously the range is again fixed. In that case, it is little bit easy, so I'm not going to change this. But obviously when column changes, meaning we can pass the range here. So I will show you how to pass that. Okay, so before this, okay, let's do this for one, and I will just keep this aside. First we will complete this. Once this gets success, we will do for the another one also. Okay, so here row number, obviously sale is here, you need to pass a row, you can pass I, right? And column you can pass j, but here you don't want to insert the formula into 1 to 5. Here you need to insert the formula in the 6th column. So I am going to give the static value, hard coded value, column 6, meaning this should insert every time whenever this loop get executed. This should insert into the column 6 only, not in another column 1 to 5. This is what my expectation. Okay, so if I close my file, okay, if I run this, okay, it got executed. There is no issue, right? So now you can see that it is taking this file, writing this file, Python is taking time. And you can see that, okay, sum of E1. Okay, the way I was doing in Excel, similarly, Python given me the same kind of functionality, and it is automated. I don't need to do anything, right? So now my task is I have to insert the some formula for this range. So what is the formula? So if I say sum, this is what my range. So if your range is fixed, column is going to change, right? Column is going to change. In that case, okay, changing row is difficult, but here if you want to change the column, so you can give the reference here. Okay, so you can give the reference. Okay, either you can pass the multiple formulas for all these, or you can try to write the dynamic. Okay, so this is what for first column. Okay, I will say, so column is row is equal to I, obviously. So row is equal to I, because okay, so this will get inserted into the only one row, right? So row is equal to first, then column is equal to, this is applicable only for first column, right? So I will write like this. Then I'm just showing you alternative, and obviously if you want to automate this also you can, but little bit uh, advanced skills you need to have. Okay, so I will say row 11 is not going to change, but here column is going to change. Second column, third column, fourth column, fifth column. Obviously column changes, meaning reference should change. Okay, so here I'm going to pass B. Okay, so mostly this kind of situation will never come to insert the formula in the bottom, meaning in the column wise formula you need to change. That is not possible. Okay, mostly we will go with this kind of approach, because we always do the transformation in next rows. Okay, here we just summarize the data, and that is even simple, but I'm just showing you how you can do. Okay, so if I say B, C, then this is a D, then this is E, right? So this is E. E is a column 5, right? So this is possible. Now if I close this, now if I run this, you can see that it got executed. Obviously it will take some time. Get finished. Now this is what my file. Okay, so here you can see that I have inserted a formula. B1 has to B10, C1 has to C10, right? So this is how we can insert. Obviously you can change. Okay, you can use the single formula here, the second one, but you need to build a logic here to pass the sale range, right? To pass the sale range you need to build logic, and that is what the challenging. Okay, not challenging, okay, but we need to derive the reference. Okay, meaning we need to use the ws dot sales, and inside of that we need to derive. Okay, so what we can do here, if I try ws dot sale, and range we can define, right? So sale is going to represent. Okay, so range we cannot define. That's again challenge. Okay, so but yes, there is a way, but this is the best approach, and we never need to do the formulation in this way. Okay, so if I close this, so now let's see. This is all about how to write the formula. Even I discussed how to insert the formula from Python into the Excel. Okay, now we will see how we can read the existing Excel file. Okay, so this is all about the formula. Okay, obviously as per your requirement and what you wants to do, your formulas and operations are going to change. But here, whatever we have seen so far, it was just related to how to write a new Excel file, how you can insert the formula. Obviously, if you are able to insert the formula into the Excel, and that is the Excel formula from Python, that is the best thing. And you can automate any kind of your report. So let's say every time you are doing some, after a periodic of time, let's say every day, every week, every month, if you are creating a large report, and let's say that report takes you for the 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, or maybe a whole day to create that report. In that scenario, if you write a Python code to create that report, Everything will be taken care by the Python. You just need to open the Excel. This is what the automation, Excel automation using Python. Now my interest is to see how we can load the Excel workbook. Okay, so you need to use the function called load workbook. So this function is used, okay, to create the instance or to create the object, because this function, return type of this function is workbook. Okay, that's why I created a WB as a workbook, and load workbook is a way. And here you need to pass the file name. Okay, so you need to remember one thing: if you are reading the file from the same folder, no problem. Okay, but if you are reading the file from different folder, so obviously what you need to do is you need to give the complete path. Okay, so here I'm giving the complete path even while saving the data, while saving the Excel file. Okay, so in case of Python, you cannot use this backward slash directly. So if you want to use that, so you need to use double backward slash everywhere for the each step or each subfolder. Okay, and entire during the entire path. In that case, it is going to work. Otherwise, you can change this backward slash into the forward slash. That is going to work. Okay, so it's completely up to you. So I am going to read the data from Python file. Okay, so here I have a XLSX. Okay, this is what my file name. Okay, this is what my file name. Since this is sitting in my same folder where my Python file is there. Okay, so I can remove this. Okay, and this is going to work for me. Okay, fine. So now not only this, okay, after the file path, you can say read only, keep a VBA and all, and then even you can specify the, okay, you don't need to specify anything here. Okay, that is in the DAS. Okay, so if I say WB, sorry, I would like to create a worksheet, meaning I would like to read the data from any specific worksheet. Okay, so what you can do, you can use the workbook object, and if you pass the sheet name here, so if I come here and if I open this, so let's see how many worksheets are there. Okay, this is what only one worksheet, so obviously I will create sheet one as a, and this is what the demo. Okay, this is what the demo I just created. Okay, and I would like to read the data. So, okay, so this, if I read the data from sales sheet, order ID is the value of A1 sale, and if I read the data from A1, sorry, sheet one sheet, so value of A1 sale is demo, and this is what I'm going to show you how you can select. Okay, so if I come here and if I say WS, sorry, my bad, WS already entered. If I say sheet, or sheet name is sales, right? Sales or sales was there. Okay, so if I see, or if I say print, now the way we access the value here, similarly I can access the value. But if you want to access the value, read the value, you need to use the value attribute. Even if you want to insert the value, you need to use the value attribute here. Okay, and if I run this, you can see that it is giving me the order ID. Let's say if I change the sheet, okay, if I make the sheet one, and again if I read, it will change the value. So just to test whatever I'm telling is correct or not, so obviously whatever I'm saying is correct. Okay, so now let's say sales data is there, meaning the sales tab is data. I'm reading the data from sales tab. Okay, so now if I try to print WS, you will be able to see that it is just a kind of object, and you can see that worksheet sales. Okay, so it is reading worksheet dot sales. Okay, so now let's say I would like to read the values from this, but how you can read the values? Okay, so what I will do, I will say ws dot values, values whenever you have to read the table, okay, from the existing worksheet, so you need to use this. So this will return one generator kind of object. Okay, so generator object worksheet dot value at this. Okay, so whenever you see this kind of message, so let's understand this, you need to loop through that. Okay, and if I say for I in a ws dot values, so now my values are sitting in the I variable. If I print, you will be able to read each row. Okay, so there are 5,000 rows. Okay, if I did this, you can see that all the row got printed. So last cell has 72.948, meaning 72 point something should be there in my this workbook. I will go to the last. Okay, 72.948, right? So this is what the value I was able to see here, 948. Right? So I am able to read all the data. But if you look here, okay, on my console, so each row is represented in the form of tuple. So you need to have the understanding of date time dot date module, because obviously we can have the data in the form of date, we can have the data in the form of numbers, we can have the data in the form of text, right? So you must know this, so you can go through my earlier videos for the understanding of this date time module. Okay, so now next is, let's say I would like to filter the data. Okay, so how you can filter the data? So here, even different kind of information we can obtain first. Okay, so single value we have seen, data is equal to values we have seen. Okay, so you can store this even somewhere as a data, and then you can use that. That is different file. Okay, if you are good with these loops and all, you will be able to understand what I'm doing very easily. Even this is very simple. I just simply applied loops. But why applied loop? Because this is what the object. This house is a data, right? So now, if you are able to read the data, you can perform anything. Okay, so what I want is, I wanted to filter out the data. Filter out the data for, I will show you, for let's say column called, okay, column called category. Column M is there. Okay, column M is there, meaning the what is the column number? So obviously this is what the 13th column number, right? So meaning I of 13. Okay, so if I show you I of 13, so it will print the values of that column. It will print the values of that column. And if I close this, so obviously every time whenever we execute the code, it is going to read the data. Okay, the furnishing. Okay, the problem is what index start with 0. Okay, that's why. So then in case if the column is in Excel, if it is 13, you need to use 12. Okay, so here you can see that 3 categories: furniture, office supply, and supplies. I would like to filter the data now. I would like to filter the data only for furniture. So I need to put the condition. Okay, so now if I do not put the condition, you can see that what is there. So now we know what cell reference we should use to filter the data. If I execute this, you will be able to see that it is showing the, okay, waste, office supplies, and then furniture, then technology kind of categories. Okay, if I mm, make it as a full screen, you will be able to see that somewhere as a office supply. Okay, here it is office supply, here it is furniture, here it is furniture, technology, office supply. So this is what the segment, and I don't want all the data. Okay, let's say I wanted to filter out the data. So in that case, what I can do, I can simply filter out the data by using if I of 12 is equals to, if I say furniture. Okay, this is what the condition I need to give, and then okay, if this is true, in that case only I would like to print I. So similarly, I'm just printing here. If you want to perform any kind of other operations, you can perform. Okay, and if I run this now, you can see that everything is furniture now. Here it is furniture. Okay, office supplies, and one more category was there, so that got terminated, meaning filtered out, right? Not terminated on. So that got filtered out. So this is how you can do it. Let's say you may want to find out the number of rows or number of columns in WS. So you can use the WS dot max columns. Okay, and it will give you the information about that sheet, how many number of columns are there, how many number of rows are there. If I say max row, so this will give you the information. Okay, so 19 columns are there, 5010 rows are there. So I will show you how this works. Okay, if I come here, okay, so if I take the count, so column count is 19, you can see here. Okay, so column count is 19. Then if I take the count of number of rows, so 5010 is the count of number of rows, right? So this is what we can do. We have seen how we can access. Okay, obviously even you can use the iterator method only. Okay, so there is another way. The way the one which we have seen is for loop with values, but one more method. Okay, so to iterate through the row, iterate meaning applying the loops. Okay, so through the rows. So I can say for, you can use I or row, anything. Row I'm just using for I and I. Okay, WS dot iter rows iter columns is a method. Okay, so you can do that. So if I say insert iter rows, here you can say that what is the minimum row. So I will say mean row is equal to 1, right? So mean row is equal to 1, comma. If I say max row is equal to WS dot max row. Okay, this is what we can use. Obviously sometime before we have seen. And then values only true or not. Okay, so if you say values only, default is true, so you do not need to specify. Even if I print a row here, okay, it's row is just a local variable, so you can change the name, you can put your name also, that is not going to matter. Okay, if I run this, so you can see that if we don't specify values is equal to true, it will give you the cell reference. Okay, and if I say values is equal to true, meaning the values only is equal to true, in that case it will return us the values. Now this will return the values, right? So this is what the value we have seen: office supplies, furniture, technology. Okay, this is what was the value we had seen earlier also. Okay, so there are two ways to loop. Even if you want to loop through the columns, you can go through the column also. Even if I say same thing, okay, I'm just going to do, okay, let me remove this. If I say for call in, okay, I'm just using call as a representation, and ws dot iter calls. Okay, so obviously this will improve the performance whenever you have to go through the columns instead of going through the cell values the way I was doing earlier. So this will help us to, let's say minimum column is equal to 1, and if I say maximum column is equal to ws dot max column. Okay, and again here values only is equal to true, right? So this is what I used. If I say print, and I can use I or a column. Okay, you can replace A, B, C, D, I, R, J, whatever you want to use here. Instead of col, COL, you can use. Okay, so now this will loop through the columns. Okay, so now you are able to see the single values. Okay, so here it is giving you the numerical values. Earlier it is giving me the date. Okay, so one by one, okay, it will go one by one, it will go. So first it is giving us the date time, all the date time, meaning, okay, if I say column is 12, minimum column is 12, maximum column, I think it is going to ignore. So let me say 13. Okay, so we know what is there in the column 12. So obviously we already had seen the furniture categories are there, furniture or kind of things are there, office supplies, furniture, technology we had seen. So let me run this, so you will be able to see that value only. Okay, so upper bound value always ignore. So whatever you specify in the maximum column, that will get. Okay, in this case, this is not going to work like range. Okay, so that will be considered. Okay, so at column number 12, regions are there. So let me see whether whatever I'm saying is correct or not. So at column number 12, regions are there. Okay, at column number 12, obviously, yes, regions are there. So maximum column, minimum column, if we specify, it will go through the one single column. Okay, so until you get the good understanding, obviously you need to do little bit hunting. Obviously I'm there. You can comment if you want. Sales report permission denied. Why? Because let's say if the file is open at your end in any other tool, you will not be able to use Python to work with that file, or you will not be able to write new file also with the same name. It will say permission denied. Okay, so now you can see that only category column is accessed, right? So this is how you can access the number of rows, number of columns, any specific columns, and then if you want to perform anything, so you can perform any kind of operation. Further operations, obviously, we will come to know. Okay, so it is always a good practice to go through the documentation, obviously, okay, because whenever you are learning a new library of any language, not only the Python, okay, so it is good to refer the documentation. It will help us to get understood more on this as per your requirement, because whatever I need, I supposed to do that. Okay, so here you can see that rows can also be appended using this ws dot method. Okay, so what I can do, I can simply append. Okay, so here I'm going to read the sheet 1. Okay, and then if I say ws dot append, so append method I can use here, and iterable, any iterable you can pass. Okay, so if you want to pass the nested list also, so that is even fine. Okay, okay, so obviously here what I used is load workbook. So this is used to read the data. I need to write the data. So in that case, this is not going to work. Okay, so what I will do, instead of this, I will read the data from sales, and I'm going to write. Let's consider that I'm going to write the whatever the number of rows are there. So I'm going to write those rows into the second sheet. Okay, so I will show you that part also, how to read and out. So now we are good with the reading of data. Here I don't want to use this, so I will change this method to rows. So I will say iter rows, and then I will say minimum row is equal to 1, maximum row is equal to ws dot max row. It will automatically pick the number of rows. Then values only is equal to true. Okay, this is what my arguments I passed to this function iter rows. So now here I don't have row. So this row houses data, right? My requirement is little bit. Okay, I would like to write the data into the different. Okay, so I will create one more workbook, object of workbook. So obviously this is what we use. Okay. Even we can use. Okay, we can create the ws1. So ws1, because Excel file already written, we have read it. In this file only I would like to write. Okay, so if I say ws1 dot, not sorry, ws is equal to wb dot, and I'm going to access the next sheet, that is what called sheet 1, and here I'm going to write the data. Okay, so what I can do, I can write the rows here. So ws1 dot append row. Okay, so this is what it will copy the data from first sheet, and it will create the insert the data into the second sheet. Okay, so this is how we can do, but obviously we need to save the wb dot save, and it is going to replace, obviously, whenever we write the function. So it is going to replace. So I will say sales. Okay, this is what the file name I'm going to use. Okay, or what I will do, instead of this, it is always good, but yes, we can write the data because I have redid this, and with different name also we can write, or with the same name we can write. Okay, so might be I'm going to lose the data in this case, but data will be available in the sheet one. Okay, sales sheet is I'm not going to override, so obviously it will remain as it is, right? So there is no chance of losing the data. If I run this, if I try to execute this, let's see what it does. So it will throw error, or it will take some time. Okay, it got successfully executed. Now let's see what happens. Obviously, what we passed to the this append method is iterable. You can see that this is what the tuples. Okay, we have passed tuples here, right? Each tuple. So if you pass nested, it will be a problem. Okay, so you need to look through that and then you need to pass. But here obviously we are getting not nested, we are getting each row as a tuple, so it is fine. Okay, so it got okay, so you can see that at 12:15 this file got saved. If I open this, my purpose or my intention was there to append. Okay, so whenever you ws use ws.append, what will happen? It will not override the existing data. If you write new file, it will override every time. But if you use ws.append, so demo was there, I already kept a demo and it kept demo as it is. Okay, I don't want that, right? And here it has added all the data as it is. Okay, fine, right? So now what I would like to do is, let's say I would like to remove this data. What I will do, I will remove this entire data. I would like to keep the data, only filter the data that is for the furniture only. Okay, that is even possible, right? So what I can do, I can simply come here, and if I say if row of column number is 12 or 13, okay, it's 13. If row of is equal to 13 is equal to, okay, if it is true, then furniture, it will write the data, otherwise it is not going to write the data. Is equal to furniture. In that case, I would like to append, otherwise I don't like to append. Okay, so if I go and if I run this, okay, it will throw a permission denied because this report is opened at my end. Okay, let's see what it does. Okay, so it got executed, but I'm not sure whether whatever I did is correct or not, because okay, so nothing comes here. Let's say the problem is what, as I said, index start with the 0. Okay, meaning here in case of Excel, so we need to say 12. Okay, so we are using Excel format, we are not in this, since this is 13 but column index is, this is 1, but this will come because each row, each tuple has index starting from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you come here, it will be sitting in the 12th. Okay, I gone through the only count of rows. Okay, so I must have subtracted that 0 from that. That's why it was not worked. Now let me run. So it is very important to understand the functions or loops and indexes in Python. So obviously it is it to write the file. Okay, the file is written. Now I have a data in my second. Okay, so this is still, it is showing. Okay, let me see whether it is printing up the data or not, because why it is not printing up the data. Earlier we did, or we might making some mistake while writing the spelling. Okay, so I will say furniture. Okay, so furniture is correct. If I say row of, so row is okay. So what I will do here, I will say print. Why I'm not getting the data? I will see first print row. Okay, otherwise the way I I did earlier in that way also we can do. Here I'm just using the different method, but it is fine. Okay, so data is getting suppressed, right? But it is not saving the data. Okay, the data is getting filtered. If I say ws1 dot append, and I would like to pass the row. That's it. This is what I did earlier. Okay, because of some other limitations, this might not working, but okay, I might be deleted that this web jump. Okay, I'm just running the file, and if I hit the enter button, it is taking the time, and this should work. Okay, the file size, it is increasing, but I can't see the data so far. Okay, so data, even data is coming. You can see that sales, or it is selecting the data, but data is not popping up. Okay. Oh, oh. Because of append, this is the problem. Right. Right. The problem is, okay, I don't want to keep any data here. Okay. So now this sheet is blank. There was a different problem. So while appending, you, because whatever is there earlier, so it is not going to remove that, and that's why it was happening. Let's say if nothing is there in the sheet, so we might need to remove everything and then test it. That's why I was saying that sheet size is getting increased, but I won't be able to see the data. Okay, now data, filter data only for the furniture category I can see here. Okay, similarly I shown you how you can insert the formulas. You can do the multiplication. This is what the sales amount, this is what the quantity, this is what the uh, percentage of something like discount, and then this is what the profit. Okay, so if you want to perform any kind of calculation, you can create the formula in Python and insert the formula here to derive any other field, right? So this is the way you can automate your Excel using Python. Okay, if you want to work, if you want to insert the date time, obviously you need to be familiar with date and time, date and all kind of things. If you want to insert, you can insert even simple usage. Let me see. Okay, so here you everything you will find. Okay, how to do this, how to append, right? Sales in a row dot font ft. So if you want to get the information, if you want to create the chart, obviously you can use the this OpenPyXL to create the chart also. But internally, I think it is okay. In OpenPyXL, there is way to create a chart. Okay. Then, okay, this is about the simple usage. Working with style, reach, conditional formatting. If you want to do, you can do it. Then here you can see if you want to insert the sales, if you want to insert the insert or delete the sales columns, or moving the range. So obviously how you can move the range. Okay, the question is again comes in a picture. Okay, so I will tell you a very simple rule, a simple way to move the range. Okay, so if you read the data, okay, if you read the data, okay, always use, let's say by default what it is doing. Okay, so this is inserting the data from cell 1, okay, column 1 and row 1, but I don't want to do that. In that case, what you can do, you can use, but don't use this approach the way I shown you earlier approach for loops. So for I in a range of, instead of range I will say ws dot values. Okay, so values you can use. Okay, so this will give you the i's, right? This is going to hold your rows. Then if you want to take the length of this, or I can say for j in a I, or len of I. Okay, so this is going to give you the j is your column number, right? And in that case, if you want to perform something, if you want to move the range, so obviously, so that is even better. Okay, so if I say len of values, okay, let me see how what or how it behaves. I'm just going to comment out this so that it should not save my file, otherwise it will make my file as a blank. Okay, so if I say print hi, what I did, I'm just trying to read the number of even max row, max columns are there. Okay, to loop through that, so we can use that also, max row and max columns also. Okay, in this case, if it is returning, okay, so len object, okay, so this is fine, this is not going to work. Even in this case, I will use range of len of, okay, instead of length. Little bit, and even small mistakes happens when you build or when you are in a development. So let's say ws dot values. Okay, so if I range, let's see if this gives me the, okay, the object type generator has no method earlier. Okay, so we cannot use this, but here I can use different way, that max rows, right? And this will generate the maximum number of rows. Then this will generate the for j in a range of, okay, range always start with a 0. So if you want to ignore that 0, we need to build little bit different. Okay, then I will say len of ws. Okay, I think I don't need, because len I don't need, because this is going to return me the number, right? Max row is going to return us a number, so we don't need to take the length. If the iterable is there, then in that case we need to take the length. Okay, so ws dot max column. Okay, so this is going to work. This will give me a range of cells if I say I and j. Okay, so yes, this is going to work perfectly. Right. As for my expectation, this is behaving. Okay, let's press escape. Okay, I don't know how to stop. Okay, I am able to stop this. I am able to terminate this because there is a number of rows. Now you are there. Let's say you have a range here. You have a range here. Now what you wants to do is you wanted to use this I as a row, j as a column, the way we started, meaning the way I was started. Okay, and if I remove this, okay, if I remove this, so here what you can do is you use ws dot sale method, and here you can see that row is equal to I. Okay, then column is equal to j, and value is equal to, okay, so I will say ws instead of ws, I will say ws dot sale, ws1 dot sale, and that I, because in the both the ways I have to copy this, right, entire data. So I am going to pass I and j, but I is a 0. Very first place I is 0. You cannot use, so you need to modify this, because none of the Excel sheet will have 0 0 cell reference. 1 1 is for first row, first column is fine. Similarly, I am making the changes to match this. Okay, so value I am going to pass ws1. Okay, I'm going to read the data. I'm going to read the data. Okay, so in that case, what I don't need to do this. Okay, so I will use this because I am going to read the data from ws. Okay, so this will give me the data. This will not give me a range. Okay, and now you have to write. So same number of rows you have to write. So you can use that method here as a, in this ws dot sale. Okay, ws dot sale, then row is equal to, if I use, okay, so you need to understand what I used here. I used to read the data. Okay, here I used to read the data. Here I'm using I plus 1, j plus, sorry, column is equal to j plus 1, then value is equal to, this is what I would like to pass. Right. Yes. And this is what I supposed to write. Okay. Now our concern was different. Okay. My concern is, let's see how it is different. Our data is getting inserted into this cell. Okay, let's say I wanted to move this by 4 columns. Why I can't move this? Okay, so what you can do, you can simply say where the data is getting inserted here. So you can say this is equal to 4. 0 plus 4 is 4. So it will start inserting the data from fourth cell, right? And append is going to append, otherwise this is going to replace. Okay, so let me remove everything, and now you will be able to see that this will start inserting the data from fourth column. This will start inserting the data from fourth column. Okay, so if I try to run this, obviously it may throw an error if it is there, and we need to work on that. Okay, so far it has not told me there is no compile time error. At least runtime we cannot predict. So whenever come, we need to work on the errors. But yes, it is behaving. That means it is working. Even I can't predict, okay, how much time it will take, because it is going through the each value. Okay, that's the concern. Okay, even here you can see that it has started the writing this Excel file. If I refresh this, okay, so this is what the size, but yes, it is writing the second sheet. Okay, so now just got finished, and now I would like to show you how we can move the range. Okay, so now you can see that my data got inserted into this fourth column onward. 19 columns are there. Okay, 19 column remains same. 19 column remains same. Here you can see that until profit, 19 count of column is 19, but it has skipped the first 3 columns. This is how you can skip. And if you want to insert the formula here, you can try to insert the formula, right? Obviously, I shown you how you can insert, how you can give the reference. So before this, you need to write ws1 dot cell, then row is equal to 1, column is equal to 1, row is equal to 2, column is equal to 2. So that kind of mechanism you need to build, and then you need to insert the formula there. You will be able to do that, right? So you can try at your own, and let me know in the comment if you stuck somewhere. Definitely I would be able to help you to get succeed. Okay, so this is all about the Excel automation in Python. If you know at least this much, that is more than sufficient. You can automate any kind of report, any kind of meaning, any kind of report, Excel report. So with this, even Excel, Python do not support to work with the create the pivot tables and all in Excel. So we cannot go for that. Okay, with this library, we can create the pivot tables with different library. I will discuss that in my coming videos. But there will not be any link between data and the pivot table, whatever created by the Python. Okay, the way we can refresh the data into the Excel by from the pivot table, that is not possible in case of Excel. Okay, so every time you need to run the Python, go through the Python, then it will get refreshed automatically. Okay, that is what the way. So I hope you like the content of this video. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day. Please do not forget to share this video with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe webcam.